let's go ahead and take a look at. I'm gonna turn it on for you. To turn it on, you have to press the brake pedal, and press the start power button right here, and then it turns on. Gives you a little screen. Beeps at you because, well, you don't have your safety belt on. And, oh, it just kicked on. I will be doing a driving demo later, probably not on this video, just because, you know, I'm going to want to take it on the interstate, and I live a couple miles away from it, so I don't want to bore you with just the drive time to it. I'll get a little bit closer, and then I'll do that video, and I'll post that online. A couple things that are interesting about it. Let me go ahead and turn my front defroster and my rear defroster. There is absolutely no ignition. Alright. I've reached for it like 5 or 6 times to turn it on or turn it off, and I find myself just pausing and sitting there, and then going ahead and going, yeah, power button. Alright, turn it off. You will notice down here on the shifter, it's got a nice little pattern to it. So honestly, you don't even really have to look at what you're doing to shift into gear. I mean, to throw it in reverse, it's just one pop down, and then drive, you can actually feel it shift over twice, and you know you're in drive. It has a B on there. Honestly, I have no idea what it does. I've read the book a little bit, but I really didn't care enough to figure it out. If it does anything fancy, whoop-de-doo. If not, I don't care. Oh, my engine just died. That is the weirdest sensation in the world if you've never driven a Prius or any electric type car like that. It happens. I'll be stopped at a light. The engine will just die. First time it happened, it freaked me out. I'm like, I just bought this car and it just died. No, it's perfectly fine. I mean, you step on the gas, it goes. It's that simple. It just turned off because it had no need to burn the gas. Let me look at my stereo real quick. Oh no, we'll get to the stereo. Let's do this in different segments. Up here, you'll notice you have a digital speedometer, and you really can't see how it looks because of a glare and all that resolution crap. Whatever. It goes miles per gallon, tells you what gear you're in, and then next to it, on the right side there, is your fuel tank. 9.5 gallons, broken up into 10 divisions, and as you can see, it's only halfway done on my second tank. If I go to the center one right here, this one actually gives you your odometer, but on this screen, when you start driving, this one gives you miles per gallon for this trip, miles driven this trip, and all that since you started the car. You can actually scroll to trip A, and this one's been running since the car's been in existence. And it says I'm getting 48 miles to the gallon. We'll get into mileage here in a second. And then trip B, which has been filled up since my last fill up, you know. I've already filled it up once because I had to know, and I only put 5.858 gallons in it at about 284 miles, which comes out to about 48.5 miles per gallon. And that was on my first tank, which is, as you can expect, I did a little bit of stomping on it just to see what the car could do. So I'm expecting it to be a little bit better, but it said that it was going to be around 52 miles per gallon, and I can tell you that was wrong. That's an estimate. It's an overestimate, but let's be realistic here. 48.5, let's say even 50 miles to the gallon. Let's be realistic here. Let's say I learned to drive it, and I drive it like a person should. Because let's be realistic. I'm in my 20s. I'm a guy. You know, there's still a little bit ego in there. I need to stomp on it every once in a while. So let's say you get 50 miles to the gallon. Who cares if it says it's supposed to get 53 and you get 50, okay? 50 versus 15, come on. Realistically, guys, you can't argue with that. You have your idiot lights over there. Whoop-de-doo. thing that does bother me, every time you turn on the car, you actually have to press a button to turn on your cruise control just to activate it. Unlike on my Silverado where it had a hard switch and you could just hit the hard switch and it'd be activated. And then you would just turn on it when you want it, you know, engage it when you want. But it would be on constantly, which was cool. This, every time you got to get in, you got to press this little button right here on the side to turn it on or turn it off. The only real problem with that is it's attached to the steering wheel as opposed to the column. I'm not crazy about that. We'll look at the steering wheel. I've got, you know, my mode for my stereo, which we'll get into the stereo. We've got up and down selectors, volume. We have a voice command button, which works with my navigation and my cell phone because it's Bluetooth connected. This is for the phone itself if you just want to hang up or make a phone call to somebody. We've got our temperatures right there, if we can zoom out a little bit. Temperature, up and down. You've got your air conditioning recycle, which is the way I like to run it. You've got your display and trip, and trip's been what I've been hitting. And actually, if you look up here at this little screen, I'm going to go ahead and put my finger on the display button, and I'm not pressing all the way down on it, just enough you can actually see that it's illuminated. So technically I don't have to, and that's trip, I don't have to take my eyes off the road that far to look at the steering wheel to see what the hell I'm doing. It's neat. I never use it. I'll tell you honestly, I have an idea where the buttons are, and as you learn where the buttons are, you're never going to even look at that screen again for that. But when you're first learning to use it, yeah, you can use it. I don't, honestly, as I'm learning to use it, I just glance down real quick. Hey, let's be realistic on what happens here. You have that display button I was talking about. What that does, and this is where it gets distracting, as you drive, that miles per gallon number right there in the center changes, and you can actually see how things change. So you find yourself actually looking at that a little bit more. But if you go to display, there are other modes like this echo score. This is a video game. I'm going to be straight up with you, and it's distracting as hell. If you look at it right there in the curve, there's a word called eco, which you probably can't see because the resolution on the camera kind of sucks, and I apologize for that. That's where you want to be. That's the sweet spot. And if you can stay in that for a good time period, if you look down, you'll see like 3 sets of bars. One says start, one says cruise, and one says stop. That scores you. And it scores you as you run, kind of thing. So that means you are playing a video game trying to get to 100% the whole time you're trying to drive. Which is stupid as crap because it's distracting as hell. I'm just going to let you know that right now. I don't even bother coming to this screen unless I'm showing someone that it's on here because it's really distracting. Another one is echo savings. What you can do is put in, when you fill up, it actually asks you when you get back into the car and turn it on how much gas was, and you can put it to whatever the price of gas was, and it'll give you an idea how much you've spent. Like right now it says for this tank of gas I've spent $18.10. Okay? Seriously? $18.10? That would get maybe a third of a tank in the truck. Maybe a third of a tank. So it's just hysterical on how huge the savings is on this car. I mean, realistically, if gas reaches $4.10 a mile, 10 cents a gallon, I really do not even own a car payment on this car. That's just how much I'm saving. What you have on this screen,